Alright guys, made a video on the roof AC of this thing, and since we're up there, we might as well go ahead and take a look at the roof. I'm over here at Casone's RV in Mesa, Arizona, and we're going to look at this 2005 Travel Supreme roof. Their roofs are fiberglass roofs, very similar to maybe a Monaco roof. But since we're already up there cleaning up my mess, might as well take a look at it. Now, Travel Supremes were a luxury motorhome, kind of their own brand. They were acquired in 2008 by Jayco, and then Jayco, of course, was acquired in 2016. So this is a Thor product now, technically, but I mean, the Integra product is. But this is a Travel Supreme that became a Jayco Integra, and now it's a Thor Integra. Is that confusing enough? Let's go take a look at it. So now, this is the customer's unit. They own it. This is not an inspection. This is just because I'm up there working anyways. I thought we might as well take a look at it. So I'm climbing up the ladder. One thing you might notice on this entire roof, this is fiberglass, so there's a lot of cracking going on. So you can see these are like heavy duty checking. So it's not small checking, it's heavy duty checking. So the rear cap is going to be incorporated into the fiberglass roof, just like Monaco would do or Country Coach would do. So there's not a hard body line or molding across the back. It's just going to be sanded and body worked. Now this molding right here, you can see they just used clear silicone to keep resealing it. It doesn't look good. I mean, it looks ugly, but it's going to be fine. There's an air compressor going back there, so I'm going to start at the front. Hopefully it'll turn off by the time I get back to the back. But the front cap's going to be the same way, where the front cap gets incorporated into the fiberglass roof using filler and fiberglass repair to make it seamless. So there's no transition of molding right here. But you can see that bodywork's probably been failing here recently. I don't want to pull on that because I don't want to expose that. I don't want it to be my fault. I don't know what I would recommend on something like this. I would probably chip it out and see if it's just going to be cosmetic. I mean, you could go ahead and clean it all off really well. Roof repair tape will stick to this really well. It looks like somebody's already roof repair taped over here, probably where that body line was anyways. But you can see this roof and the front cap right there does flex a lot, so I wouldn't really want to step on it. But you can also see it's wavy because the sun really does heat the stuff up, and fiberglass, it seems really strong, but it really is just the plastic because it's all resin and glass. So it can warp and it can buckle. See this entry door awning? Everything looks fine on it. But it is nice not to have that molding across, so you don't have to worry about screws coming loose or water getting stuck up here. There's our remote controlled searchlight. You can see a lot more checking on the front cap right here. And I'll go all the way over to the side. So this slide out topper, this is a Carefree topper. It's pretty common for the seams on this to come loose too, and you can't see it from the ground because this side, the side you can see, the seam's just fine, holding on there just tight, but in the middle, it can be like 6 feet of it all loose and laying on top of the slide out. So that's why it's important to get on the roof and inspect that. Not sure what would have been there. It looks like some place where like a GPS or a Sirius radio would have been, but somebody's gone ahead and sealed that off. Now that's just silicone. Yeah. I mean, I like to seal over the top of the screw heads because it does help redirect water away from trying to get underneath there. But some manufacturers don't do that. I already checked this one, but I installed this 6 months ago. I'll make sure it's still tight to the roof. We'll come over here. This is, of course, your Girard wind sensor for the Girard awning. Now, this awning is mounted on top of the roof with brackets. You always want to check these brackets to make sure they're not loose. And it does look like, I don't know, maybe there's some cracking right there. Somebody's peeled off the sealant that was up there. I don't know if they tightened it up and decided not to reseal it, but I would have definitely resealed this for sure. This is that Braun TV antenna. Somebody's gone ahead and made a a Winegard adapter head for that. I don't think I've ever seen something like that before. That's a lot of effort right there. But kudos to them. That's very impressive. They discontinued these. You can't get these anymore. These are obsolete. They have a nice brand new King tailgater on here. Maybe it's a Rover, I don't know. But this one's pretty nice setup because you can see right here with this mount, you can actually take that pin out, take the whole thing off, put it on the ground if you, maybe there's a tree right above where you're parked. You still have to run a big long cable though. So you can kind of make out a trail of water where water just gets stuck right there because it's probably a low spot. Yeah. Now the roof itself doesn't feel weak by any means. Travel Supremes are built very well. It's just going to be a little bit wavy, and you can see it's probably water coming off the AC, the condensate that comes down and just gets stuck right there. There's another little issue of it right back there too. But the roof itself is intact, so I wouldn't worry about it. Somebody again used some roof repair tape to hide the original satellite and mounting holes. It's not how I would have done it, but it works. It's not peeling and it's holding up pretty well. There's of course another low spot in the roof right there. You can kind of see where the water puddles. I mean, again, I don't like to see sealant cracking like that. But this is Dicor. I'd be interested to make sure that there's no water leaking into the roof on this side. I didn't point it out. They mounted this, it's almost like a wiper seal from a slide out. It acts like a flashing or a gutter to keep water from going in between the roof and the sidewall underneath the awning right here. So it's kind of ingenious. Again, I'm a little concerned they might have tightened these up and didn't seal back over the top of them. Come back over here. That AC feels tight. These don't look like factory sewer vents, but they are installed. Okay, the sealant looks fine. They're using silicone again. I still like to go over the top of those screws again. And somebody's gone ahead and replaced this skylight using the dreaded hex-headed screws. These are 5/16, but that's their prerogative. Now this screw is already backed out a little bit. You can kind of see there is movement there, so I'd recommend tightening that back up. I would still like to seal all this off, but for some reason somebody chose not to. I didn't install it. And this sewer vent on this side. This is a different sewer vent from that one, but they do the exact same thing. Got a radio antenna right here. This would have been factory. I'll tighten that back up. See, you got two fantastic fans. Sealant looks fine. I don't see any cracking. Again, on this side, this fantastic vent. I don't see any cracking, and the sealant does look fine. Of course, on this one, whoever installed these two decided to put sealant on top of the screw heads. There's no rhyme or reason for most of these things. Now I'm a little concerned on this awning mount here because I can definitely see that it's loose. Water's going to be getting under there, and it looks like water is getting under there. So it's one more thing to have to worry about. I'm really surprised they're using big lag screws or lag bolts. I'm not sure what's going on with that, but that would definitely need to be secured and resealed. I mean, ideally you'd want to take all these back off again, kind of lift that plate up, clean it, get a good sealant underneath there, like a Sikaflex or even a urethane. That way it bonds this to the fiberglass really, really well, and then these will just be clamps waiting for that sealant to cure. But once this awning's all the way out, it's going to be putting a lot of pressure on that. And it bounces in the wind. It's a big diving board. We'll come back over here. That slide out topper looks pretty good. The roof itself, I don't see any real issues with it. There's something here. Likely a solar panel would have been right here, a little tiny gimmicky one. And Again, I'm guessing those are actually sewer vents for the gray and the black tank, and this would have been where the wiring came down for the solar panel. Another slide out topper, that looks good. We're also looking at this edge right there to make sure we don't see the molding popping loose or sealant gapped, and that all looks pretty good. And we make it back to the back again. You can see all that checking. This is just what happens in the sun, unfortunately. It's best to keep these things stored inside, but it's also really expensive and it's hard to find indoor storage sometimes. Alright, well, I think that's pretty much the roof, guys. Now the only thing I really didn't do is check this AC. So let's go ahead and make sure it's not loose. It's not loose. So there you have it, a 2005 Travel Supreme. It's got a fiberglass roof. This one was used, for the most part, used silicone sealant, but in places like the awning is mounted, that roof vent right there, that TV antenna, and that radio antenna, they're using like a self-leveling Dicor acrylic sealant. So it can be done. It's always best to try to use the same stuff everywhere. That way it's not confusing. But there's a 16-year-old roof. Now, of course, fiberglass is one of the best roofs you can have. A one-piece gel coat fiberglass like this one. So it's good that it's held up. A little bit of problems with the bodywork from the front cap to the roof, and also from the rear cap to the roof. But that's why you need to inspect these things every year. And it doesn't hurt to inspect them twice a year or 3 times a year. You never know what you're going to find. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. Bye.